Did you, because there's a few things again coming out of it, but I just want to stay on this trail for a minute. Um,
Hmm.
did you have you experienced like any cultural challenges, being of, having a father from Zimbabwe who lived in Zimbabwe, you've been there, you've come back, you're in the Netherlands, I know, very similar to London, the West in general can be diverse, but in other areas it can be extremely, populated by Europeans, it could be populated by Asians or Africans, Caribbeans, what was the climate like when you was coming up and how did you feel in your experience, your human experience with that diversity within yourself as well as in the community? How did you deal with that?
Yeah. Mm. I, Back in Zimbabwe, I used to get into trouble sometimes because I would use foul words. I would joke at the girls about pubic hair or something like that, and they would tell the teacher, and the teacher would tell the headmaster, and the headmaster would tell my father, and in the beginning they didn't dare to beat me that hard yet because wasn't sure how my mother would be about it because she's white. But then my father said, no, you can go all the way with this one. So I did run into some difficulties there. Um, Here in the Netherlands, yeah, I was always surrounded, especially Amsterdam is in my experience, it's always been a very diverse city. And my mom, she's white. She does have a lot of white Dutch friends, but very interestingly, she also had white friends whom also had children with um, fathers from different countries, a lot of black countries or African countries. Um, so in that sense, I always kind of felt like I was normal. Um, yes, when I came back, I think I did bring back some of that earthy groundedness and toughness from Africa, which um, yeah, it had to find its place, but I was never really aware of that there were cultural difficulties for me here in this country. There's so many Surinamese people here, so many African people here. My mom, she later on dated a Gambian guy as well. And yeah, this whole being from two different cultures also allowed me, I think, to see the beauty of both cultures. And like I just came back after 18 years from Zimbabwe. I did feel like I was home again, like, and that I had missed it more than I realized. Um, so yeah, there must be some type of feeling of not always being understood here in the West. And I guess um, I've always had that, but it wasn't really always at the forefront, or maybe something that I was really aware of.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wicked, man, wicked. Because
Hmm.
that kind of leads me as well to, so I was doing one last night. I've been like getting loads of content, man, having wicked conversations and like building and stuff. And something that came up yesterday with one of my friends, and he's in his early 30s, just turned 30, early 30s. And he's shared his perspective, just in, what allowed him to want to do the things he wants to do in life, yeah, whatever those things were, like he's coming from a music background, but ultimately he said it was he had these ideas or inspirations based on these windows. He referred to them as windows that allowed him to see how other people lived, how things were outside of how things were just in the neighborhood. Because he came up living the street life basically, So most of his friends were just stuck in the local community, and that's all they saw and experienced.
Yes.
By his dad being a musician and his dad touring, going around, and him being able to see his dad, he was like, I realized that my friends, although I was living the same lifestyle, my friends were caught up in more of a box than I was, simply
Hmm.
because I had this window to be able to see other lifestyles, other ways that other people live. And we were just talking about how important traveling and having different types of experiences when you're young is important, freeing you up, basically liberating you. So you
Yeah.
can talk to different people, engage with different people, play out with different people, all those
Yeah.
things, and how important that is. And based on what you shared earlier on, just your activities from judo, that type of stuff, to traveling to Zimbabwe at a very young age. Because like for me, I didn't get to travel until I was in my 30s, for the first time.
Oh yeah.
I'm traveling. So it's like there's and this I'm aware of now that I travel, and I'm in the Netherlands hooking up with people like yourselves, and I'm in Berlin and I'm in Gambia now, and I'm going places like, wow, like imagine only seeing and experiencing this, because being in one place restricts your view, limits your view. You know what I'm saying? So this was, and just as you're sharing it, it made me think of what my homie was saying yesterday, just in, how he's grateful for that one window. He had one window that allowed him just to see more than what, was going on. And by how, sharing, the people that you're around, it's allowed you to kind of have multiple views, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah, that's very much indeed how I feel. I used to have a best friend. He was Dutch, Boris, and his parents always took us both with them when they used to go on holiday trips with the car. So we would travel through the whole of Europe, going to France, going to Germany, going to Italy, and along the way we would just have fun and laugh and see the different terrains. And this was like almost every big holiday I would be invited by them. And yeah, this definitely has given me a sense of freedom, I think, and openness to the world. And I think to this day, I'm someone who can connect with people very easily because of that. Amsterdam also has this world capital type of feeling where any nationality you can find here, and you get invited to. Like when I used to go out in the street, there were Moroccan kids, there were Turkish children, there were Surinamese, different African nationalities, Dutch, and we would all just be friends, and because the school I was on, it was predominantly white, but still I had many friends from different countries. So yeah, I think, you're right about that. Although I also I have a lot of friends from Eritrea to Gambia to Ghana to Nigeria to you name it. And nowadays, the struggle for people of African descent. I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
Let me just switch this off. Airplane. Yes. Yeah. So, and I also feel attracted by this. By this movement. I feel a lot of. I think that it's important for people from African descent to know who they are, where they come from, and the beauty that Africa brings to the world. Obviously, because it's part of who I am, and I feel connected with this struggle. But because of my journey, also coming in, starting from when I was 18, asking who am I. This understanding of who I am became also more a spiritual journey, and trying to understand who I am as spirit. And although I'm now walking in this this African Dutch suit, this Zimbabwean, Malawian, Dutch body, which likes certain type of flavors, which likes different types of sounds, and which has a DNA lineage which I cherish and honor. Um, in the end, it's not who I am. If I'm really asking myself that question, who am I? So yeah, that's where I'm honestly trying to get at, and that spiritual self. Who am I really within, deep within myself? And it might be that through I believe in reincarnation, and it might be that I've had multiple lives within African bodies. But I believe we've had lives within all of the nationalities, and well, maybe not nationalities, but all of the, let's say there's, you have Asiatics, and you have Africans, and you have people from South America and North America. And I think we've been on all of the continents in a matter of speech. And I think it's good to cherish who we are. But for my spiritual journey, I think also for the future of this planet, it's good to, yes, cherish and also preserve the cultures which are there, or which have been there, and see the beauty that they come to bring to the world, but not use that as a way of dividing, but also find a way to connect. And that's through the heart, if you ask me. That's from soul to soul, from spirit to spirit. And once we get to that understanding, then I think it's easier for us to create more peace and harmony on this planet.
For sure. I'll second that and agree. I've been interviewed recently, and the subject of race came up. Being black and proud of African heritage, and I said, you know what? It was in the middle of this conversation I was having. It was kind of like, I've had enough of having this conversation. I said, if you really want to know how I feel, like, I don't believe in race. I don't believe in these ideas. Like, that's not, like, if we're going to have this conversation, let's just have this conversation rather than the role play of, just a role play that way used to doing, because something more can come out of that, I feel. Simply because, even if you look at even I was saying, like, the terms like Africa, black, these are not what the people use or say or refer to themselves. So when we start saying this is who we are and we're identifying with these things, is it really that, these words only go back so far? These people, if you're claiming, like, what is it you're actually claiming? And then when you go to the people who you're claiming, they say that we're not even from here, we're not even Earthlings and stuff. Like, it gets really weird, man. You know what I'm saying? It goes,
exactly.
Even if you do start off with, who am I? And you're looking in the mirror, looking in your face, and then you start that journey that day, if you're on that journey, it's going to take you to the start. It's going to take you beyond physical confinements of who you think you are, who you've been told you are, who people told you are, and all of that good stuff. So what we're looking at is, it sounds like you're on that, that true journey of self-discovery, that goes beyond, my name's Kuda, my name's Darren, and I live. It's like, no, you're not.
Exactly. But then, who are we? That's something which I think is a never-ending. Like, that question it always goes deeper.
Yeah, and then it's like, and on the flip side, like you said earlier, it's like, well, who are we becoming? Not just who we are, we're becoming. Like, what are we becoming? It's
also that. Also that
is this thing, man. So it's interesting to have that dialogue, and just so you know as well, like, and it's already an interesting conversation. And what happens is, I don't deal with time, but sooner or later things pop up on the screen and let me know things are coming to an end, or batteries cut out and stuff like that. And what it makes me realize is that we need to keep doing this type of stuff. I need to keep doing it, at least. And I would like to think by the end of it, you'll be like, yeah, I look forward to doing another one sometime soon.
Yeah, I think this is awesome. Like, you asked me before if I did more interviews. Not really, actually. I mean, I have these type of conversations with people throughout my my day, my life quite often.
You talk a lot of shit.
I talk a lot of shit, man. Yeah, I'm known to talk shit. Into
Fertilize.
and
Fertilizing minds.
pardon me.
Fertilizing minds.
Exactly. But I have been thinking about putting myself out there a little bit more and sharing some of my visions. So this is a good way for me to get comfortable with speaking in front of the camera. And yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
well, you got to not do a little bit more. You got to do a lot of bit more. You got to do a lot of bit more.
I gotta do, yeah, well, that's something which you really inspire me in. You know, you are definitely putting yourself out there and yeah, speaking your truth and sharing your path and doing it with passion, but also with a certain groundedness and from a place of sincerely wanting to help people. I've seen you've done some gardening projects back in the UK as well,
Yeah, yeah.
which is also very inspiring. And the way you are trying to use your knowledge and passion and interest about psychedelics to help to open people's minds and hearts and help communities heal is also very inspiring.
Thank you,
So
bro.
yeah.
Thank you, bro. And I'm gonna throw it back at you, man, because this is the opportunity to share. Because I don't know if I've told you. I think maybe not, but I'm gonna put it out there again. Again, you don't know what you've done. You don't know what you do. Some people just don't know what they do sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to share this story, just the role that you've played, and your partner as well in allowing me to become this version of myself that you're saying inspires you to do what you're about to do, because it comes from me. Because yeah, I don't think I told you the depths, but it comes from me making those visits to the Netherlands. I've done the Netherlands a few times for different reasons. But in that
Uh-huh.
period of time when we first connected, I think that was the second time I'd gone to the Netherlands on going there to give talks, to deliver workshops and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I remember the hustle and bustle in getting there, and and all the rest of it, and yeah, just making it there. But prior to that, I'd come from Berlin. I'd actually just been traveling Europe, and I was at a
Oh yeah.
crossroads. I was at a crossroads of like, are you doing this, D, or are you doing this? Are you going to be talking about this for life? Is this what you're doing, or are you gonna go back to London, just carry on teaching and get on with that stuff? It was just like, because people are saying that they're feeling you, and this is, you like doing it. It resonates. It's complementing the decisions that you're making, but you're not doing all that it takes to make it happen. You got half foot in there, half foot there, and it's time to start making some decisions. Yeah. And one of the crossroads I was at, Kuda, was that I've been doing all of this traveling. Yeah. And one of the biggest, motives that I had for stepping out and sharing my story was because I saw one of the key things that it allowed me to do as a person of color was embrace my identity, my true identity, not only based on the physical, identity that I assume, but that inner identity. And what it allowed me to do was lighten my load. It liberated me, allowed me to do this journey, this lifelong journey I was on. It was able to allow me to do that now without the blinkers, removing the ego, removing the pride, removing false ideas, removing misinformation. And now let's address this straight on. But at the same time, every time I went out and done talks and workshops and stuff, I was always like, and I want to see my people in there, man. Like, I want to see
Yeah.
some people inside there, man. And because although this is helping me to pay the bills, this mission, this motive that was about, like, I'm spreading the spores, as I call it now, or planting these seeds, that I want to support people who have gone through similar, if not the same, challenges that I've had, and we've been hitting brick walls when it comes to resolving these problems, these issues, these traumas that we have and we hold. And it's allowing me to do that. And I'm like, that's why I've got this mission. Although I know my mission inspires others from other cultures to do the same from their perspective, what happened when I got to the Netherlands, I was not in a good place, man. I was not in a good place, like, to the point where I was like, what the hell am I doing here? why am I here? Because even leading up to those talks, things weren't going great. Things weren't going in my life. And in just the project itself, I was in the Netherlands. I had actually come there to do some other stuff as well. And that all got cancelled. And it was like, shit, I had spending up weeks there, kind of spending like weeks in the Netherlands to do a project that didn't take place. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the ending of the project was just me doing the talk and this workshop, you know, in this new venue that I wasn't familiar with either. And what was great was my first encounter with the owner of the space, who was Michelle. I think I told her, I don't know if she remembers, but that's my mother's name. You know, that's the name of my mother.
Oh,
And so straight away, synchronicity started building me up again. I was in this place, I was like, oh, fuck it, this is some bullshit. I'm in the Netherlands. I've smoked all the weed I can smoke, you know. I've walked around as much as I can walk around. Like, I'm still here. And there was many times I felt like just cancelling this event and just going home, just going back to London, because all I'm staying for is to make this bit of money, you know. And I've already spent more than I should have spent because I'm, you know, and I didn't make the income that I needed. So there was multiple things. I've got a family, you know, and stuff that was going on back home I need to deal with. I was like, I'm going to commit to this thing. I'm going to stick with it. Cut a long story short, I got there to just connect with the place first and foremost. And it was Michelle who I met. And synchronicities of her, you know, my mother and her having the same name. The name of the shop played a big part. And some research that I was doing at that time, it was all to do with, like, I was dealing with the Hindu deity Vishnu, and some of his archetypes, you know, or his avatars, one of them being Vihara. And the name of this place was Mahara. So I was words and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, you know, I'm coming home. You know, I'm coming home. Mama.
Yes.
Yeah. So there was loads of stuff going on. And then, cut a long story short, on my return, when I came back, because then at the end of that talk, you wasn't at that talk, but at the end of that talk, Michelle was like, yo, that was the shit. Yeah, I like what you delivered. She's like, this is your home. When you're ready to come back and do some more stuff, this is where you're going to come back and do your stuff. And like, there's people who I know that will appreciate this, and I'm going to reach out and make sure that they're there at the next time that you come here. We fast forward, you know, I'm back, I'm there, I'm connecting, and then you was in the room, man.
Yeah.
That was like the next phase of me understanding what I was doing and why I'm doing what I'm doing, and seeing the results of me being frustrated a few months before, of like, and all around the place, and all I want is somebody in the room, somebody, you know, like that's all I'm asking for, universe. And not somebody that I know. There'd be people in the room, but they're people that I invited, people who are like, yeah, I'm gonna come and see you. It's like, is this going to reach the places that, you know, the mushroom said it could reach, you know? And I just kept at it. And then to connect with you and build in the way that we built. And then, again, very important moment in it, you know, in my history, in my story, in saying, stick with this thing. Because then what you shared with me as far as, yo, I was inspired. And then by the time I've come back, you're bringing your people and there. And now I'm connecting with people in the Netherlands, Nelly and a whole heap of other people by way of that hub, you know, that hub. And Michelle saying, hey, this is your home, you know, making sure that you was there the next time, and, you know, and all the rest of it. And as you know, I've been back several times to the Netherlands since.
Yeah, you even brought Kalindi over.
You got it, man, you know. So for me, it was like, it became a home, bro, you know. And the you know, the people that I connected with in that period of time were the catalysts. More, it felt like I got accepted in the Netherlands than before I got accepted in the UK, kind of thing, you know, just as far as the people I was trying to reach, just the everyday people, man, just not the doctors, not the academics, not the, you know, just like everyday people who are doing their thing, who I feel comfortable with building with. And, you know, we see, you know, we relate on many levels. But yeah, the heritage played a big part, because I knew what my message was, you know. And my message, no matter whether you're from South America, you understand that you've got a story, man, that is relevant. And, you know, within my talks, I share all of that. But yes, I am of African heritage, as we refer to it now. And this is my story. And that's what comes across, obviously. And you connected with that. And but that, giving it back to me, played a big part, bro. Played a big part, man. Big part.
Awesome.
And that's why we're having this conversation. Because I'm talking to people who've inspired me, you know, they say, oh, you inspired me. And he's like, no, you don't know what you do as well. So that's
amazing, man.
So flip it, because I know we're doing. That's why we got to do part twos, and it's not even part twos and part three. It's just continuations. It's just the flow. You know?
Okay.
We go into the underworld for a bit, and then we resurrect and come back up. But I've still got a bit to chop up, so I hope we don't need to run off anywhere just yet.
No, I don't. Hit me.
Okay, cool, man. So what I do want to do is just go into your name, bro. Your name. I do actually want to
Okay.
know your name and what does your name mean? Where is it from?
So my name is a Shona name. The you know, coming to what you just said, the word Africa is a word that we currently use for that continent. So on basis of that, it's easy to use that word. What the people themselves used to call it, I don't know. I mean, I've heard different variations or different possibilities. I've heard of, the Moorish people. I've heard of Al-Kebulan. I've heard of the whole continent being called Ethiopia.
Me too. Yeah, I've heard all of that.
But I right now, as I mean, there might be some historians who have better information about this, but let's call it Africa. But then the countries within Africa, are also not really. I mean, they're even younger than the word Africa, I believe. My father is from. He was born in the country called Zimbabwe. I think this region used to be the Munumutapa Kingdom. And the people from this region, and actually the neighboring countries around that, are called the Bantu people. Just like how you have Latin people in Europe and Greco-Roman people, and you have different. We have that in Africa as well, and this southern region mostly are called the Bantus. So it's and then a specific tribe from the Bantu ethnic group is the Shona, the Mashona tribe, and that's where actually my grandmother is from. My grandfather, he is from Malawi, and I believe it used to be called Nyasaland, and I know less about Malawi, and even less about the tribe that my grandfather used to belong to. I did go back there last January for the first time, but my name, Kuda, or actually it's Kuda Kwashi, is a Shona name, and it means the will of God. And that's the name my father chose. My mother agreed to it, and it's the name that I came with this time. Yeah, it's quite a common name in Zimbabwe. I met a couple of Kudas on my last trip. I noticed that a name also brings out a certain type of frequency within a person. I mean, of course, you are who you are. The name doesn't define you, but I do realize it brings out certain characteristics in someone.
Oh, for sure.
I like my name Kuda. The part Kuda means will, and Kwashi is of God, Kwaishi, and yeah, it's that's what it is. I personally, I got very proud of it when I turned 18. And I started to go into spirituality, and also I was never really into God. Even my father, he was not a Christian or anything, but neither my mother. But still, yet they gave me that name. So when I turned 18 and I got a teacher and he spoke about God, and I started to feel a lot of pride in this name. I still do. Although now my views around God have changed a little bit. So I would say the will of good, or the will of goodness. That's how I think that's what they meant with it when my parents gave me that name.
Thank you for sharing, man.
Mm-hmm.
And Kuda, there's also like, I'm not sure if it's an antelope, but from that family known as the Kuda.
Oh well, no, it's funny that you say so, but this is actually the totem of my family.
Wow.
the I think it's the kudu, the one that you were
Mhm.
mentioning.
Okay.
That's not this. This is an impala
Okay. Yeah.
or mara, as we call it.
Mahara is in there as well.
Well, almost, without the first a, mara.
Mm.
Um, so in Africa, I believe at least all Bantu cultures, but maybe even throughout the whole continent, we didn't really used to have surnames, but we used to have totem names.
See.
And these totem names would usually also be connected to a characteristic of someone. Um, and this is actually, I tried to get this translated by some of my relatives, but it's apparently such old Shona language
Mhm.
that even they can't really decipher it. They can tell some things about it, but I took this when I left, and I just keep it on my desk because I do like to go deep and to understand my real African heritage and the culture.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, that's the totem that I received from my grandfather's side. Although now having gone back the last time to Malawi, I heard that so my surname is Nemani, like my Western type of surname. But my grandfather apparently was not born with that surname. He changed it to that surname when he moved from Malawi to Zimbabwe. So he was actually born with the surname Matoro. And also the totem that he had when he was in Malawi was also not Mara, but it was Ngoma. And apparently Ngoma is a little mouse. And yeah, some people say it's a little mouse, others say it's no, sorry, Matoro means a little mouse. Ngoma, my auntie in Malawi, she didn't know what it meant, but very interestingly, on my trip coming back from Africa this February, I met a natural healer on my last day in Soweto, South Africa. I
Mm.
went there with my half brother and sister to the cultural village of Credo Mutwa. You've heard about this guy, right? Your sister went
Sure,
to
man.
him, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Rest
So
in
I went
peace.
to
Oh man.
Yeah, he just passed like a week after I was there. I didn't, unfortunately, didn't get to meet him, but like there's this tower within this cultural village. It's actually supposed to represent the Zimbabwean ruin, um, like the great Zimbabwean ruins with that tower, which is yeah. There's this big castle type village with a big
Mhm.
wall in Zimbabwe where in the center there's a long tower. And there was a whole story around this, why they had built this in the cultural village of Mutwa. Um, but this tour finished on top of that tower. Then on our way walking down, there was a natural healer who walked up just by coincidence. He had just come from a big fast in a mountain, and he was going to do a ritual up there. And we were walking down, and I was like, yo, can I join him in his ritual? Because they were explaining me what he was going to do.
Mhm.
And they asked him, he's like, yes, you can come. And he was about my age, a young guy, but he had like proper teachers. And yeah, we went on our knees, we did like a prayer, and someone came through, and he told me, you know, I see your father, or I see a male figure, and he's got the locks, and yeah, well, I said must be him, and he shared some beautiful things about him, messages that he had to share,
Mhm.
um, him being happy that I had made that trip, that I was there with my half brother and sister, with his other two kids, and making the effort to connect the family all together. But then I asked this guy about that totem ngoma, and he said that it sounds like he said a word which really sounded a lot similar in his language and in another language, and in both those languages it meant cow. So it's like the yeah, probably the totem of the cow. So I've got a lot of names basically. I'm known as Kuda Nemane. The true surname would be Matoro, and my previous totem was Mara, but now I'm slowly adapting into Ngoma. But there's a reason for everything, I believe. I go by what is given to me, and yeah, that's the story around my name.